There are some people who are social butterflies, those who love to go out and meet new people, talk to new people, consume information from others, learn about different cultures, so on and so forth. Maybe you're someone like that. Maybe you're not. Maybe you're someone like me who isn't a social butterfly. Then there's some people who are social butterflies online. Maybe they use forums, or maybe they're just on social media a lot. And let's just say Twitter, they respond to tweets. On Instagram, they respond to your stories or they comment on all your pictures. And you may not know them that well. That's just the personality that they have. For the people who crave social interaction, going outside, going to parties, going to events, social gatherings, if they don't get that, or maybe if they miss something because they were sick or they had something in their schedule that didn't allow them to make an event or a party, they may have something called fear of missing out. And that's shortened to FOMO, the acronym. Or maybe somebody who's chronically online and they haven't been on Twitter or Instagram or their favorite social media for a while. I don't know if there's like a FOMO for that, but the artist I'm going to be talking about today has the opposite. They have JOMO, joy of missing out. And that's the title of Jazz Evon's EP that we're going to be discussing and reviewing today. JOMO, joy of missing out. I have a proper definition for JOMO here. On Google, it says it's the pleasure derived from living in a quiet or independent way without feeling anxious that one is missing out on exciting or interesting events that may be happening elsewhere. Now, I know for myself, I'm not as social as I used to be. I don't care to go to events and things like that. To be completely honest, having this podcast has forced me to be more social and going to events and talking to people and learning new things from them, right? On the other hand, I'm also chronically on social media, subsequently from the podcast. I have to keep up. I need to keep up with my engagement and things like that. But there have been times where I have not been online. And after a while, you might have that out of muscle memory clicking on the Instagram app or Twitter app on your phone or Facebook if you're a dinosaur. And you just scroll through it real quick to see if anything new popped up. But after you haven't been on it for a while, it no longer seems to be as important as it was in the past. I know this from experience. But sometimes it could be hard to break away. And as I mentioned before, once you break away, you might feel vindicated, from these things. You might feel released. You might feel a pressure off of your back because you're not keeping up with so many things. But let's dive into Jazz Evon's EP because this is what I like to call perfection. Because Jazz Evon captures these thoughts and these feelings in being away from the interaction online. I just want to give a quick disclaimer before we hop into this review and discussion that all of these opinions are mine. I do not have exact meanings of lyrics and the deeper meanings behind songs. All of these things are my interpretations. So I just want to give that quick disclaimer because Jazz Evon is someone that I've interviewed on this platform and I've discussed many of her projects before, including her poetry book. We talked about her short film. We talked about one of her projects on here before. And the one thing that I just have way too much respect for Jazz Evon and what she does and how she does it to possibly, even potentially mislead people as if the definitions and things that I come up with is what she intended. Now that we got that out the way, let's hop into this. Let's hop into this thing. So preceding this release, this rollout and everything, Jazz Evon was noticeably not online. She was not on social media. If she was creeping and she was sneaking through the windows or watching from afar, as they like to call lurking. Because I didn't see no Jazz Evon activity. I don't like pay attention to my likes and who's watching my story like that. But I noticed she didn't have like a lot of Instagram stories up. So, or she didn't have any. She was just not there. Now, JOMO dropped on September 6, 2024. It is a 5-track EP. It's a short listen. It's 16 minutes. Let's hop right into the first song, which is called Saturday 2:52. And that's 2:52 p.m., 14:52 if you do military time. Now, this is the intro track, and the sound is upbeat. It's jazzy. I hear the saxophone, the drums. I hear something like the xylophone or marimba, and also background synths. The production reminded me of the song Good Kid off of Good Kid, Mad City from Kendrick Lamar's Good Kid, Mad City. Duh. And that song was produced by Pharrell. Now, when I draw this comparison, I'm not saying the production sounded like a Pharrell produced track. What I'm saying is it just reminded me of that song, like of that production. It gave me that vibe. It restored that feeling from 2012. And what you're going to see with all of these tracks, they're pretty vibey. Now, this project was classified under alternative. So Get Out of Your Mind, Dark Till, which was more hip hop-ish, had hip hop and R&B elements to it. There was more elements than that, but this is alternative. I would think this is alternative, just as it's classified on streaming platforms. So now Jazz is singing on here. She's beautifully harmonizing. Like, you're gonna hear a lot of good harmonies on here, and also these lyrics. She's saying, Saturday, won't you stay? Saturday, please don't go away. Now, I'm recording this on a Saturday, okay? And, for adults, if we're all adults here, even for, teenagers in high school, Saturday is a day where you would like to recover. It would be ideal if you can recover on a Saturday. Sometimes people have lazy weekends where they just chill out, things like that. But, for a lot of adults, we're busy on Saturday, but some things that I found personally, even though it's a Saturday and I'm busy sometimes, or if I just did nothing, it's just nice not being at the 9 to 5, not being at your secular job. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's what I was thinking when she was saying, Saturday, please don't go away. Saturday, won't you stay? She talks about also needing a drink, but reconsiders that because things will get better. So there's, I don't want to go too deep into that. Sometimes you just like, man, I let me get a drink, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me get a shot of yak. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm stressed out right now. You hit the yak, not the jack. Hit the yak and, take the edge off a little bit. But in this situation, how I'm interpreting these things, how she's like, oh man, I need a drink. Maybe something stressing her out, or not her specifically. If you put yourself in those shoes, something may be stressing you out, but you're like, you know what? I don't even want none of the yak. Like, I'm gonna chill out. Things are gonna get better. You kind of talk yourself down, So that's just the intro track, and it's a great vibe. But I want to move on to the next song called "Good Day" featuring Crowded Places. Now, I'm just gonna jump straight into the lyrics here. Now, in "Good Day," this is a powerful song because you might have heard the term, you can choose to be happy. You can choose to be angry. You can choose to be happy. You can choose so on and so forth. But can you choose to have a good day? Are you in control of your emotions? Are you in control of your attitude? Do you have self-control? You know what I'm saying? So in this song, it's like she's talking about waking up and facing the everyday problems that we have as imperfect humans. Um, no matter what you do, we're going to have problems, no matter who you are, whether they're big or small. You're going to have problems and issues. And for a lot of us, we are middle class or lower middle class. And a lot of us are probably on that lower middle class scale. And we're just everyday people who get up and work and just do our thing and try to survive. And sometimes you just wake up and you're like, I don't want to go to this job, or I don't want to deal with this issue, that issue. I don't want to go to the doctor today. I don't, there's just so many different challenges that we face as people. And like, I know you might come into work and they're already starting with the crap. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're already starting with the crap. And it's like, I just got here. I still got bags under my eyes. I'm not finna deal with this today, gang. So it's just, you know what I'm saying? But a theme of this song is to make it a good day. Make it a good day. Everything can be going wrong. And it may be a little bit harder to make it a good day. But what I'm getting from this song is you can make it a good day. So you wake up in the morning, you don't feel like dealing with it. Maybe you don't feel like going out. This was another thing that I got, and I'm going to read some of these lyrics here that I got from Good Day featuring Crowded Places on the JOMO EP by Jazzy Vaughn. If you're someone who doesn't like to go out, you may have to force yourself. So before, I just want to make the separation that I was talking about, waking up and dealing with different problems, maybe just in your everyday life. But what if you're somebody who has JOMO in the sense of, I just don't like to go out. I'm good at home. I'm good chilling. I could kick back, eat some Doritos, watch Disney Plus. If you play video games, you know what I'm saying? You could do that. You know what I'm saying? All right. You get what I'm saying. All right. So you may have to force yourself out of your own comfort zone if you're someone who just likes to kind of be to themselves. Now, listen to these lyrics here. Check this out, y'all. She says, time to start some conversations. Participation brings invitations. Smiley faces with good vibrations. Kick it with bros like crowded places in crowded spaces. Now, these lyrics are the reason why I spoke about the things about pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. So let's check this out. Walk with me now. So let's say, I get invited somewhere. I'm like, I'd rather be at home working on the podcast. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather be at home, or I'd rather go to the gym, or these are things that I say. I'd rather go to the gym, or I'd rather do this, or I'd rather do that. But check this out. How do you make friends? You lonely, sad sap. You have to interact with people to make friends. You know what I'm saying? You gotta go. You gotta put yourself out there and talk to people. So get yourself out of that comfort zone and say, okay, participate. Start some conversations. Talk to people. Participation brings invitations. Be involved. You might get invited to something else, and you might have met somebody that you were cool with. Check this out. We went to this little party at the Andy Warhol, right? And I didn't know, like, the Andy Warhol. Now, I live in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. There was this big, like, gala event. I bought my tickets. Me and my wife went. We went in there not knowing anyone. I met a brother named Mars Jackson, Pittsburgh rapper. Cool brother. I chop it up with him again. We might have to line an interview up. But, like, I went in there on some cold stuff where I'm not knowing anybody. I meet Mars Jackson, chop it up with him. We had good conversations, facts. And I even got to share one of the clothing lines of one of the brothers that I'd done interviewed before. I said, oh, this is that. So maybe I can make a connection with somebody I interviewed before and somebody I met. I love to see it. I love to see it. So it's like, you put yourself out there, you get the good vibes, the good vibrations, kick it with bros like crowded places and crowded spaces. Now check this out. Walk with me still. Saying crowded places could be used as a metaphor. And I'm going to get back to this line a little bit later because Jazz did something that I really liked, but we're going to stay on this one train of thought right now. So crowded places could be used as, honestly, this could be like a double entendre with like another meat, with like a deeper meat. There's a lot going on with this line alone, but it could be used as like a metaphor for meeting somebody cool, you know, because crowded places as an artist, that, you know, that's the artist, but there's a person behind the artist, and you know, that's crowded places real name. I ain't gonna say his real name, but you know, he's a cool dude, you know. So you might put yourself out there and meet yourself a crowded places. You get what I'm saying? Used as a metaphor. But in this song, she's also featuring this person. So crowded places verse comes in, boom. So crowded places, I feel like in his verse, he's speaking from a place that I come from. You feel me? A place where, check this out. Why speak when I got crowded places to speak for me? So what I wrote down for his verse was like, he speaks about his energy depleting, and maybe he likes to be at home to himself. You catch the drift. But he says it's a good day only if I decide. So whether it's just a normal day or you're forcing yourself out of your comfort zone, you're not going to write the whole day off like this was no, I'll decide that I'm going to have a good day. I'm going to make this a good situation. You feel me? So, and then he says, as soon as he decides, it's like worlds collide, lighting my soul, feeling free, things like that. And those aren't the lyrics verbatim, but he says things along those lines. So it's like, when I choose to make it a good day, all of a sudden things are going all right. Like, wow, I have the power to to be happy, to make it a good day. And Jazz Evon later says, I hope you get your act together. It's all right. It's okay. I'm singing it wrong. I'm tuned off. But she says, I hope you get yourself together. You'll be fine. And it's kind of like a reassurance. Like, you can do it too. You can do it too. And by the way, when she's singing that, there's these beautiful like background harmonies. Like Jazz was doing her thing on this project. And that's facts. That's facts. To finalize some of these thoughts, Jazz Evon and Crowded Places work well together. I especially liked Crowded Places starting his verse off in a way where he was picking up where she left off before he started rapping. So Jazz Evon, to further explain, and by the way, if you haven't listened to the project, you should probably do that. Jazz Evon was singing on here, and then Crowded Places, once she's done crowded places and crowded spaces, crowded places comes in and he's singing like this, da, 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 and then he starts rapping. The energy, it's kind of like the Olympics when they're doing a little run, and then Jazz Evon is passing the baton, and in crowded places is getting that baton. Then he starts running to the end of the joint. You know what I'm saying? So he did that, and I really, 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 really thought that was great. Like they was working together like peanut butter and jelly on that song. So like that pass the baton was crazy. The passing of the baton was crazy. It was hard. It was fire. I enjoyed it. I liked it. And this is why I listened to the song repeatedly. And this is why I'm going to push the line that I'm pushing, that Jazz Evon is one of the best artists of this generation. And let me just wrap up. Let me just wrap this song up. The last thing that I'm going to say is, because I said I was going to get back to that Crowded Places line. This narrative is with like a posse cut, when there's like a bunch of different rappers on a song, and then one of the rappers has to name every rapper who's also on the song. You know what I'm saying? It gets real touchy when you want to name the person you're working with on a track. Like it's hard not to be corny doing it. You feel me? So it's like, you know, say I'm on a song with Kanye, Big Sean, and Drake, and I'm the fourth feature. Me, Kanye, Big Sean, Drake. You know what I'm saying? Not like it's lame, but the way she did it was the way she used like what I called a metaphor, and it just wasn't corny. It wasn't lame, and I thought that was good. It was not forced. It wasn't like let me try to incorporate Crowded Place's name in the song because it wouldn't that. Nah, get out of here with that corny stuff. She ain't do no corny stuff. That was hard. Moving on. The next song is called Eucalyptus, Ease My Mind in parentheses. So the sound of this song is calm. Now, you notice the song is called Eucalyptus, Ease My Mind. It's calm. There's more strings on this song. I also think I hear drums and kicks. There's like a kick sound, that the producers use. You got to holler at a producer about all that drum kick talk. So what I appreciate, Jazz Evon is a curator of such, ease my mind. So this is the vibe that we're getting in. On this song, Jazz talks about just wanting the vibe and ease my mind. I just need some quiet time. That's what she said. She said she needs some quiet time. It ain't nothing personal. I'm just in need of a getaway. I need space. The phone is on Do Not Disturb. Sometimes I forget how to breathe. I don't mean to be mean, but I also don't mean to be seen. You feel me? So, and honestly, I look at this song from the space of social media. I look at this from social media and on some like virtual interaction type stuff. The whole Do Not Disturb. I tell you this, and I want to stop doing this, but I do this. Like I don't have notifications on for Instagram because I don't want notifications that this person liked, that person liked. Nah. I check it for DMs in case I got like some business going on, somebody who wants to line up an interview, or if that's what but I just don't like having notifications turned on. But like, she's on D&D, and it's like in this song, Eucalyptus, Ease My Mind. I want to throw this in there. I didn't find a correlation to eucalyptus and a calming effect. So you're going to have to holler at Jazzy Vaughn. And I'll tell you what, because I'm trying to, fully understand things. So I read like a whole article on eucalyptus trees. I found out they're native to Australia. But then I found out eucalyptus trees, there's like a bunch of different species of eucalyptus. If you want to call them species, but they, some people, they take up a lot of water. When you plant eucalyptus trees and plants, like they consume a lot of water. So you can put them in places where it's like, real swampy and marshy, and they can consume so much water and take some of that water away from the environment where there will be less mosquitoes. Well, that's pretty cool. So I learned that. Also learned that, eucalyptus, like plants or trees or whatever you want them to be, can be like considered invasive, where other plants cannot grow around them or in its vicinity. Double fact check that, y'all. So that's pretty cool. I learned that. And that it's also like a lot of things have eucalyptus in them. Like good job, Jehovah. Like the way you made, you know what I'm saying? Scents and I scent like SCENT, because sometimes when I say scents on this podcast, it sounds like I'm saying scent. But anyway, like scents, it's in bug spray, all sorts of cool stuff. Eucalyptus is pretty cool. Y'all get into it. I'm about to become a botanist after this. But anyway, I couldn't find a correlation to eucalyptus, and she's specifically talking about eucalyptus vines. And when I looked the vines up, I saw like a bunch of stuff like on Target, things that'll you can use as decoration around your room or house or whatever. But so I'm focusing on the ease my mind part. Okay. Now, anyway, so, doing this review taught me a lot about, plants and trees. So it's like sometimes you need to detach from the abundance of posts in your life. Your feed on whatever social media platform you use. It's hard to remember a time without social media. And that's what that's how I interpreted the line. She said something about, forgot how to breathe. When you don't have that social media in your life for a while, like as I've explained, it's kind of like a breath of fresh air. And if you're somebody around my age, now I'm 30 years old, turning 31 in a few months. I like to say like the people around my age group was like the last of the ones who lived. I think I got this from somebody else actually, who lived without social media and like, all the smartphones and stuff and with it. So we lived without social media as young kids. We were able to go outside and do stuff, but we also were like the generation who really, we had Facebook, we had MySpace, but the people around my age, we all were starting to have like smartphones and stuff where like Facebook was the thing. Then Instagram came along and all that stuff. So unfortunately, there are some young people out here that don't know a life without social media. I do remember times I'm like, I forget what I even did like without scrolling on, Instagram when I had like a free minute. You know what I'm saying? So it's interesting, but it is like a breath of fresh air. I respect those who don't have social media, I respect those who don't have social media. It's like, you're not missing anything for real. And there are a lot of benefits to social media. I will be the first one to tell you. I'm wearing a Zoom in Live hat. I would have never met Dev, who runs Zoom in Live. I wouldn't be wearing this hat if it wasn't for social media. You feel me? The podcast wouldn't exist if I didn't use social media. But there's pros and cons, pros and cons, pros and cons. Now, this song also had a hidden feature. My main man Dirt from the West Coast, West Side Up. And he comes in and his lyrics, from my point of view, he attacks social media while likening the Eucalyptus like to a woman. Like he said, like that's who he thinks about. It's like he's talking to a woman here. And he says that's what's on his mind. So that's the thing. That's the person who eases his mind, not the social media, getting away from the feeds and all that stuff. And he also had a bar that I'm going to spend a little bit of time on, and then we're going to move on to the next song. And he said, is it Instagram or instigate? And I thought that was a pretty powerful line. Pros and cons to everything. And as I mentioned before, I'm 30 years old. I am not in high school. Therefore, I do not play high school games on social media. What do I mean by high school games? Using social media, to cause trouble, or I don't say anything. I don't use social media to be controversial or anything like that. I use it for the podcast. I keep up with folks, so on and so forth. But there are people who love to sneak diss. There are people who like to stir the pot, whip the pot, And sometimes I ask myself why. The only explanation I can think of for people who like to stir the pot is they find enjoyment out of it. And if that's what you like to do, you go ahead and do that. I ain't trying to stop you. I ain't your daddy. You feel me? So, I can strongly encourage you, like maybe you shouldn't do that. But at the end of the day, people make their own decisions. I would be a bad friend if I didn't say, yo, you tripping. But my closest homies don't whip the pot. You know what I'm saying? So they don't stir the pot. So I don't gotta, and if I was stirring the pot, my homies would check me. And that's a fact. So I have an experience. So let me clean this up real quick. I don't intentionally stir the pot. Now, one time I did, and this is where the Instagram or instigate comes in. So I did a podcast, and I try my best to be as diplomatic and politically correct as possible on this podcast. But at the same time, I'm trying to keep it real. But, sometimes you can't keep it real without unintentionally stirring the pot. So I had an Instagram. I had a podcast live stream one time, and I was just getting stuff off my chest, not in a bad way, but I spoke on a couple topics that, and they weren't anything serious either. Not any like controversial topics, but I spoke on a couple topics that, certain things that kind of like grinded my gears, like why do people say this and why do, like just, sort of like complaining, but like about things that aren't serious, it's kind of lighthearted. But I guess some people saw the live stream, and this is where you have to be careful, and like contacted a specific entity who I consider as like a homie. We ain't like this. Like we ain't, if you can't see that, we ain't, like this, but I consider somebody a homie. And they hit my DM like, yo, woo, 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 not on no tough rah-rah stuff. It was just like, yo, don't, I don't mean it this way. Woo. I'm like, cuz I wasn't even talking about you, bro. That wasn't even, you know what I mean? Like the bullets ain't have no name on it. And I wasn't thinking about you when I was saying all that stuff. Dead homies. I wasn't talking about the homie. Facts. And I'm like, yo, dog, like I didn't even, you know what I mean? So it was kind of like, I'm like, the last thing I want to do is offend somebody or make folks think I'm talking about a person in particular, because I wasn't. And he was like, yo, I'm all good. I'm just making sure, woo, woo, woo. I'm like, as long as we good, woo, 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 woo. So, but I was thinking like, who's flooding your DM trying to get two black men to beef? I'll just play, forget all that. I'll just, but on some real stuff, it's like who's like trying to, you know what I'm saying? Like who's trying to, hey, look what woo, 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 look what the Qool podcast said. Is he talking about you? If you was over there stirring a pot, trying to get somebody, you know what I mean? Trying to get some smoke started, shame on you. But is it Instagram or Instagate? Dirt, that was some real stuff. Let's move on to the next song called Unconventional, featuring That T Plus. Now, this is my favorite song. I'm not going to wait until the end of this review to say it. This is my favorite song. All the songs are great. All the songs, like on a scale of 1 to 10, all the songs are at a 10, but Unconventional is like past the, you know what I'm saying? Like it's like up here, like it's all the way up there. This song is the best song on the project, and the whole project is good, but this one is like above the project. Like this Unconventional is the best song. And if you feel, and I'm gonna keep it real now, this shouldn't be controversial, because I think it's common knowledge that Unconventional is the best song on the project. And I would go as far as saying that it's a fact that Unconventional is the best song on the project. And if you feel it's not, there's probably something wrong with you. Now, Unconventional, featuring That T Plus, I had to look up a couple things to get my facts straight. So unconventional, the definition is not based on or conforming to what is generally done or believed. And then you're also going to hear the word eccentric in this song. And the definition of eccentric is deviating from conventional or accepted usage or conduct, especially in an odd or whimsical way. So in these lyrics, I interpret Jazz saying she's being different, but she's finding or found contentment in the odd or whimsical ways that she does things. It's okay to be different. It's okay to be different. I mentioned we don't do the high school games. We don't play these bubblegum games, these ghetto games. We're grown. We're adults. And unfortunately, even as adults, folks like to have a hive mindset of certain things, of how certain things should be done. Be you. As long as you ain't a horrible person, be you. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, bro. Come on, dog. Like, it's okay to be different. Like, anime is super hot now. Like, it ain't a problem to. Back when I was in school, dog, if you were black and liked anime, weirdo. And I'm using anime. That's the first thing, because it's crazy to see like how accepted. I remember, dog, if you was caught with anything looking like, anime, if it wasn't Dragon Ball Z, folks, and then later on Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon, but like Pokemon was barely making the cut, bro. I'm gonna just keep it real, dog. They wasn't really messing with the Pokemon neither. So like, we're grown, dog. Be you. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay. Like, so anyway, so it's okay to be different. It is okay to be a little weird. A lot of people are weirdos. I'm not, but it's okay to be a weirdo, dog. So check this out. So in that T Plus's lyrics, he said something about like a constant fight within your mind, within your brain. You're battling with your own dome. Need to chill out. He's having the need to chill out and finding peace in skateboarding. And I know that for a fact. I've seen, I done been around that T Plus, and I know he does like skateboarding and things like that, and that might be his way of just clearing his mind. And this is one of that T Plus's best verses I've ever heard, which contributes to this being one of the best songs. This song has, man, like an indie. This is something that I would expect on like an indie, like an indie pop album. I don't even want to call it pop, but man, this song is so good. Like the synths, there seems to be like some guitar on this song. Oh man, this song is so good. But also, Jazz Evon had another verse after that T Plus's verse. She says, "I won't change a thing. Pretty much, you can't dim my light. I'm proud of who I want to be." Pretty much, that's how I interpreted her last verse, and I respect that. And it's hard to do these things. It's really hard, even as adults. You might think, like, growing up, if I was a young kid and I looked at a 20-year-old, even, like, I would think a 20-year-old has it all figured out. But that's when you're young. As you're getting older and you're like nearing 20 years old, you're, 15, 16, 17, 18, figuring out what you're going to do with your life. It's like, okay, when I'm, 26, 27, you're going to have it all figured out. And they say like your brain is fully developed in your late 20s. I'm still figuring stuff out. Mine is, I might be on some other stuff. Part of my stuff is missing. But like, even at the big age, as young people like to say, of the age that I am, it's like you still may feel like an outcast in certain places. Or some people can make you feel uncomfortable with yourself. But no, Jazzy Vaughn is saying, I'm okay with who I am. I'm okay with who I am as a person. All the quirks and intricacies of the person that makes me is all right. So let's move on to the last song, right? And this song sums things up pretty well. Now, the last song is called Group Chats and Internet Friends. And this song features Ty Cam. And Ty Cam is one of the is somebody that I interviewed, I think, in 2020. And this is somebody, by chance, he went from an internet friend to a real life friend. And, I'm proud to call Ty Cam my friend. Let me stop being all sentimental. So in Group Chats, Internet Friends, this song, I wanted to say that it was minimalistic because it's almost like the production is on a loop, but not exactly. And then also like the flow switches up a little bit in this song, but the flow is repetitive. Now, often when we think of something being repetitive, we think boring. At least that's how I interpret, when people say, no, this is getting repetitive, it's usually used in a negative way. However, I've mentioned this on a podcast in the past. I don't know which episode, so I can't reference it. but I enjoy what's called minimalism in music, where things can be repetitive. I'll give you an example. There's a song called it's a Bob Dylan song. Let me find this Bob Dylan song. It's called Stuck Inside of Mobile with the Memphis Blues Again. And to my knowledge of minimalism in music, if you listen to that song, Stuck Inside of Mobile with the Memphis Blues Again, it is 7 minutes of repetition. Things do not change outside of the lyrics. His cadence, his pace, pretty much. And I enjoy that song. I like minimalism. Cool. So we got that out the way. But that's how I describe it. I don't know if it fits the definition of minimalism, but anyway, I'll move on. So in these lyrics, and this song actually dropped a while ago, but it's really nice to hear it on the project because it fits so well with it, especially as the last song. So in some of Jazz Evon's lyrics, and she's singing on this song, or you could call it singing, might just be unstable, I admit, thinking about cutting off all of my friends, and something that she says repeatedly in the song, and also the feature says this, is life goes on. She says, if they mute or block me, I'll be fine. And this is the theme of the project, in my opinion. Social media is not real life. Facts. And how I interpreted this song in Jazz's verse is, it's okay to move on without guilt. Log off for me, baby. Go live your life. Now, I'm going to move on to Ty Cam's lyrics real quick. Now, Ty Cam, he takes a similar yet different approach on his verse. And he says, like, Ty Cam is singing as if he's singing to you, like the specific person. And it's like, did you hear what she just said? He starts his verse off like that, where he's like, he's talking to you. He's like, did you hear what Jazz just said? And he's kind of like giving reassurance to you that what Jazz is speaking is true. He said, I know it's hard. You know, I know sometimes you want to disappear. He's saying stuff like that, but just keep going. Life goes on. You can do this. Like, and I feel like that what's the word? Like encapsulate, is that the right word? You let me know in the comments. Everything that was talked about or touched on in the songs leading up to group chats and internet friends. This stuff doesn't matter at the end of the day. It doesn't. You know, I would hope, if you have a real friend, if you have formed a real bond with someone online, like on some social media stuff, get their number. Because there was a point where I was about to throw the whole podcast out. And there's people who I rock with on Instagram, and I rock with heavy. Some people who I've met in real life. But when I was going through some personal stuff, and I'm like, you know what? I'm about to just cut out anything that's not necessary in my life. And one of those things is the podcast. Forget it. Throw it away. Sell your equipment. It's over. And I thought, yeah, I like some people on there, but they don't know me. If they don't got my number, I'm like, who got my number could contact me. They could hit me up. But these don't matter. Y'all ain't real. Like I was in that mindset. You were very much real people. But I was just like, this stuff don't matter. Like, I don't know you and you don't know me. You don't know what I'm going through. The people who got my number might know what I'm going through. But, you know what I mean? If you don't got my number, it ain't real. So that's that. I really enjoyed this project. I've been talking for a while, so hopefully, if you made it this far, I appreciate it. I really enjoyed this project. Jaz Evon is an amazing artist. I feel like the narrative is that she's going to stop doing music eventually. It is what it is, and what I'm gonna say is, appreciate the people while they are here. Appreciate Jaz Evon's work now, before she stops making music. Don't just show love after the music's done. after she retired or when she moves on to something else. Jaz Evon, you are amazing. You are a great artist. And on behalf of the Cool Hand Podcast, we appreciate you. I'll go as far as this, of saying this. There are not too many people I'm willing to go there for. One of those people is my wife. You can't say nothing wrong about my wife in front of me without going to bed. You can't say nothing wrong about crowded places in front of me without going to bed. And you can't say nothing wrong about Jazzy Vaughn in front of me without going to bed. That's how far I'm willing to take it. Wink. Just jokes, people. Just jokes. Nobody's going to bed. But anyway, this is the Cool Hand Podcast, something you got to deal with. I appreciate you for being here. Like, subscribe, follow me on Instagram, Spotify. If you want to see exclusive content, at least 2 episodes per month, extra episodes per month, you can subscribe to the Cool Hand Podcast on Patreon. That is $3 per month, or you can join as a free member. We drop some free content from here to here, but the real stuff goes to the people who pay. I appreciate you so much. Cool Hand Podcast, something you got to deal with. Easy.